On a run at the very end of the second quarter, had a big lead at halftime and extended it. When Derek White knocks this one down, Allen, the Celtics have a 20-point lead midway through the third. It looked as over as it could. The next 10 shots that the Celtics attempted were all threes. They missed them all, and the Knicks got right back in the game.
Left the door open by settling for threes, and we've learned about this Knicks team. If you leave the door open, they're going right through it.
And you're just going to see a never-ending succession of missed threes. The Celtics 15 of 60 from three-point range. That's OG Anunoby. He had 29. It's a 9-point game after three. 6 minutes to play in regulation. Knicks down by 3, and Jalen Brunson happened.
Yeah, well, that's usually what happens late in the game. You want to keep it close and let the clutch player of the year take over from there. He knocked down 2 huge threes late.
Tied at 91. Jalen Brown was 1 of 10 from 3 in this game. He can't get that one to go. And on the other end, Brunson, step back. He scored 29. The Knicks take the lead by 3. Next, the Knicks possession. It's Brunson again.
Yes, the burner. That's when he starts feeling it. Blows kisses to the crowd. There were some Knicks fans in Boston, too, Greeny.
Knicks are up by 6. A minute to go now. Celtics down a deuce. That's Drew Holiday. Ties the game at 100. Sets it up for this moment. 5 seconds left on the clock. Tied at 100. Knicks on the road with a chance to steal game 1. And they get a pretty good shot at it.
What a great play, a great pass and cut by Brunson. He always hits these. Look at his face. All right, sometimes you just got to laugh it off.
Take another look. It's there to be had over the extended fingers of Horford. Instead, we're going to overtime. 3.5 minutes in the extra session. We're still tied at 100. And it's Hart, and it's Anunoby, and the Knicks have a 3-point lead after the foul shot.
Yeah, Anunoby was fantastic in this game at both ends of the floor. That was a tough finish.
Again, he had 29. Here's Jalen Brown. Remember I said he was 1 of 10? That's the one. That cut it to a 3-point Knick lead. Last chance Boston. Celtics inbounding. 3 seconds on the clock in overtime. Down by 3. What kind of look are they going to get? Answer, none. Mikal Bridges rips it away from Brown, and that's how it ends. The Knicks absolutely steal one on the road in Boston to take home court advantage. And let me put into perspective the numbers. The Celtics shot an NBA record, postseason record, 60 threes. They missed 45 of them, also a postseason record. Every Celtic player that took a 3 missed multiple threes. Here are Tatum and Brown after the game.
It felt like tonight they were kind of daring us to shoot. Like they wanted us to shoot those shots. And we didn't make them tonight. But I felt like we had a ton of good looks. You know, some maybe we forced up and we settled for sure. And we'll look at those and be better at those. But, you know, that's an abnormal game for us in terms of shooting the basketball.
Obviously, in hindsight, you know, if we could go back, we probably would drive the ball a little bit more because we missed a lot of shots tonight. But, you know, there's a balance. Sometimes, you know, it's a make or miss lead. And then there's sometimes where, you know, you can get a better shot.
Okay, put your feet up. We got a lot to say and plenty of time to say it. Winman, you were in the building. We'll start with you. What's the number one takeaway from a night where the Celtics took 60 threes and those turned into 45 points?
Well, I've been to Celtics games in the past, Greeny, even playoff games where they've had bad shooting nights and they've kind of been a little defiant. They've said, this is our process, this is how we've won, and a lot of times they have a point. It may not have sounded like this, but this was them being a little conciliatory, admitting, man, maybe we shouldn't have taken this many. And look, of these 63s, 45 of them by ESPN tracking were deemed as uncontested. So when they say that they were open, they aren't wrong. The problem is twofold here. One, when they were missing them and the Knicks were making the comeback, the Celtics didn't do anything to stop the bleeding. And secondly, repeatedly, Greeny, the Celtics would run good offense and get an advantageous matchup, whether it was Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown on a smaller or slower defender. And time after time after time, they would bail the Knicks out by taking a contested shot. But let me just say one thing before we move off the Celtics. The Knicks spent a ton of assets and money to get OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. They did that for games exactly like this. And down the stretch of this game, the Knicks wings were better than the Celtics wings. And that is one of the big reasons why the Knicks are up 1-0 in this series.
Let me give that stat that Wendy just touched on. Let me let it really sink in here. Can we put up A17, Matt? 45 of the Celtics' three-point attempts were uncontested. 45 were uncontested. They made 13 of those. The 32 uncontested misses are the most in a playoff game since we started tracking that, which was 11 years ago. Jay, Will, your biggest takeaway?
Greeny, you know I love the details of things. I have to be honest, I've seen a lot of basketball in my life. That second half was probably the dumbest second half I've ever seen that the Celtics have played. It is 49, Greeny, of the team shot attempts in the second half. 37 of those were threes. It felt like I was watching an AAU basketball game. I'll give you another one. Into the third quarter, the last 10 possessions, 7 of the last 10 possessions in the third quarter, they did not go inside the three-point line. Not inside the paint, Greeny. They didn't go inside the three-point line. Every shot was taken outside the three-point line. At some point in the game, you have to be able to get and attack the rim when you don't see the shots going. I know this is what the Celtics do, but my mind was blown away at how many times they settled and they took contested 3 after 3.
Alan, what'd you see?
It was arrogance. It's what they are. I mean, this is what they do. So they're never going to go away from it. So you look at the number of 32 missed uncontested threes. They look at that and think that's never happening again, right? That's what they believe. And so, you know, when you look at the numbers, that's the question. Is the shot selection is when they're not going down. Tatum admitted it, and so did Brown, that they settled. I don't think the Knicks wanted them to take threes. In fact, they went into the series saying you have to take away the three from this team because they've murdered the Knicks all season with the three. But half of Jalen Brown's shots were from three. 65% of Tatum's shots were from three. Derek White, 16 of his 18 were from three. That's what they were taking in this game because that's what they were getting in their offense. They're going to keep doing this. And we're going to laugh about game one because we know more times than not, they make those threes and they beat you with it.
It was a really weird, if you didn't watch the game, it was a strange experience to watch. The first half, I didn't think the Celtics could play worse than they played in the first half, and they had a 16-point lead. Yep. I never thought the Knicks played all that well, even in the second half, except for Brunson. They managed to come all the way back and win the game in overtime on the road to steal home court advantage from a team that everyone basically gave the championship to last summer. So a weird night. Does it set any sort of tone, Wendy? I'm trying to make up my own mind whether this was, well, it's our old, is it bad sign or bad night for the Celtics last night, Windman?
Bad night, because I think you just touched on it. I don't want to take anything away from the Knicks because they took it away from the Celtics with their second half play. But in the first half, I was like, Greeny, I'm going to be home after 4 games because the Celtics played C- basketball. And as you said, we're up over 15 points. And I'm thinking, I don't think the Celtics can play worse than this. And they're not even breaking a sweat and they're way ahead. And then they push it out to 20 midway through the third quarter. So that still exists. And so many of these looks were open. But I will say this, if the Knicks have any dream of doing this, they had to get this game, especially, we didn't even mention, Kristaps Porzingis couldn't play in the second half of this game with an illness that came over him in the middle of the game. He had to walk off the court in the middle of